Hi, my name is Samantha Lumley and I am in Bio 230. I am doing a video for Lab 2, Histology, and I have my notes here that are hand typed and handwritten that I'll be referencing for the video. The date is November 10th, 2018, and I will be discussing the 4 different types of tissues that we have in our body, the function and structure, and give an example of an area that the tissue can be found. The first tissue is epithelial tissue. This is made of cells that are packed closely together with very little extracellular material. Epithelial has many different types of cell shapes, such as cuboidal, which is like a cube, columnar, which is like a rectangular type shape, and its main basic structure are large sheets of cells covering the parts of the body that need protection from the external environment. Some of these epithelial cells have cilia hairs to allow for debris and other pathogenic material to be moved out of the body, and these can be found in the trachea and in the intestines. Some epithelial cells allow secretion of hormones or mucus. Some epithelial cells, such as the keratinized stratified squamous, which is dead skin cells with keratin, is a type of epithelium that lies on top of another epithelium that needs extra protection from the environment, like toenails and fingernails. An example of an epithelial cell are the simple squamous epithelium, which is one flat layer of cells that are useful with allowing diffusion of gases and other compounds. These types of epithelial cells are found in the alveoli of lungs and in parts of the kidney to allow for filtration. The next I'd like to discuss is connective tissue. This is a type of tissue that supports different areas of the body, and it helps do exactly what it's named for, which is connecting muscles to bone, and parts of the some organs in the body are covered by connective tissue to keep them in place. Connective tissue is comprised of cells within a matrix that has extracellular material inside the matrix. There are several different varieties of connective tissue, but all have the same basic components of a matrix of protein fibers. The amount of extracellular material and protein fibers give each connective tissue their different consistencies. And what I mean by consistency is some of the connective tissue is very thick, layers with very little extracellular material, but lots of protein fibers, which makes it not as stretchy. And then some of them aren't as full of protein fibers and have more extracellular material, which make them more stretchy, more pliable. One function of connective tissue is to attach muscles to bones, which I already said, and another function is a protection for the delicate organs in the body for any type of physical trauma that may occur, and it keeps them in place so they're not bouncing around in our body. Some examples of where to find the connective tissue is like on my bicep, where I connect the bicep to the bone right here so it can flex like that. And there's another type of connective tissue, which is the fluid connective tissue, and it has fluid connective tissue is blood and lymph, and both of these help protect our bodies from disease. The next one is muscle tissue. These are cells that help movement. Muscle tissue is excitable, and they're able to shorten and lengthen, which allows us for movement. The cells respond to stimulus, which is what tells the muscles to move. Muscle movement can be voluntary or involuntary. By what I mean is voluntary is when I'm moving my muscle. Involuntary is my heart is pumping without me having to think about it. There are 3 categories of muscle tissue. There's smooth, skeletal, and cardiac. And when looking at these, each has a different look on their slides. Smooth has no evidence of striation and a single nucleus, while skeletal slide is striated and has multiple nucleus. And then cardiac is short, branched, and striated with single nucleus and with defining intercalated discs. And those are really interesting because they help connect the branched tissue, but also helps with communication between the fibers of the tissue so that they squeeze at an appropriate time. gives it an appropriate timing for the heartbeat. You can find cardiac cells in the heart muscle. And skeletal tissue is our muscle, such as our biceps. And then lastly, you'll find smooth muscle in the walls of our organs like stomach. And then the last tissue is nervous tissue. This is another tissue that is excitable. The difference between this and muscle is that it can send and receive signals within the body. There are two main categories of the nervous tissue, the neuron and neuroglia. Neurons help messages to be sent via the electrochemical impulses, and these are called action potentials. And the neuroglia support the neurons and are modulators. They help stop the information or help it go. They modulate the information that the neuron is sending. So nerve cells all have the same basic structure with a cell body, and this has organelles and the nucleus, and the next structure is dendrites, and they branch off of the neuron and a long tail, which is called the axon. The nerve cells can be found all over the body because that's how our whole body communicates. But an example of a place where we have a lot of nerve cells would be the brain. And there's like, I can't remember, I think it said 86 billion nerve cells in our brain in our chapter. So this is the end of my video. Thank you for watching.